Welcome into Coffee and Chel for Wednesday, October 22nd. Today, we're going to discuss the Faceoff event and what I'm doing with my collection and cards leading up to the end of it, as well as what I think the next event might be. I want to talk about feeling the grind. You know, we're about a month and a half into the game. And then lastly, content packs. So let's start at the top here. So the Faceoff event and what I'm doing with my collection as we lead into the last 2.5 days of the Faceoff event. Obviously, the line combos are the big one. So I don't like giving advice in terms of do this. This is what you need to do. I think now more what I do is, or what I'd like to do is, this is what I'm doing. But I want to be very clear. This content team is not predictable. They are operating with the sense of that none of the old rules of content aren't a thing, right? So there is no rules for content. Every time we have it kind of figured out, they release something different, or, some Captain Connor McDavid comes out. Never would you have thought that a Captain Connor McDavid card would have been made, right? And I don't necessarily dislike that. I think that there is some feeling of comfort and knowledge for just the general player base to know loosely how the game works, and I think we're kind of getting that. But for the most part, stuff always changing. At least it keeps us on our toes. Like I said, every time a new line combination comes out, in my chat and on my streams, it's always really fun because we got to go through and figure out what is the best line, right? Like, that's what we just want to figure out. And you don't have to play like that, but at least it gives some excitement, injects some life into Hockey Ultimate Team. And I think that over the last few years, we really haven't had that. We've kind of figured it out. If this was 3 years ago, we would just, at this point, just be saving everything for Team of the Season or Team of the Year. And that's it. Nothing else. Like, it was figured out. It was a very tired system. So what I'm doing with my collection, and I'm running out of that, I don't really have much anymore, is I am making Sidney Crosby. I've said this in all of my videos. Sidney Crosby is sort of the key. And with my collectibles, what I'm doing, all the collectibles that I've earned in this event, because there is a finite number you can earn. You cannot make face-off event collectibles, right? You can only earn them via the store, objectives, wild card, yada, yada, yada. You guys know. I am using those on the 85 account-bound sets. And I have never recommended that once, but the reason why I'm doing it now is because there is a very good chance, because it is a 1 of 2 choice pack, that you will get a card that has some usefulness. It has the potential to have a pretty good impact when paired with another card or multiple cards. And especially with what happened on Tuesday, we got Paul Bissonnette, who's a face-off penguin, which is pretty big, as well as some other cards that really help with that +6 boost. But I'm trying to get as many face-off cards as I can, and the reason is I know that in a month they're not really going to be useful, other than if there is a Canadian Penguin that is required, right? But the face-off event as a whole, there's not going to be line combos for that. But what is guaranteed, and the only way that you can operate is, going off of what's here currently, is that there is line combo that can give you a +6 overall boost, and they both require you to have a face-off card, which means you're going to have 2 at least, right? And Crosby is kind of the big one because you can build him. That's something that's important. If you can build a card, and I don't just mean do a set and potentially get one, that's helpful. That's better than having to buy it on the auction house or get it in a pack. You have a stronger chance to actually acquire it when there's a set you can do over and over again to get a card you want. But when you can build a card specifically, that changes a lot. That impacts the market pretty heavily, and it at least gives you, whether the cost is more or less, it gives you the ability to get exactly what you're looking for. So Crosby is number 1, because when you leave the event, there will be new stuff that comes out. There will be a new event. The next event will probably have a +7 boost, right? But you can guarantee yourself a shot at a +6 overall boost eventually with the Sidney Crosby. Now, by doing the account-bound stuff, you're looking for Matthew Nyes. You're looking for any Penguin, Golden Knight, or Maple Leaf, because, again, those are required as well. So you can also get some really good defensive options. So I got Brendan Montour, and he fits the +3 boost with Paul Coffey, and honestly, probably the best option, and that's a huge one, right? That I got account-bound out of that set. So I'm okay with that. We really need to hammer home the it's very difficult to explain. This game operates with cards are the currency. Okay. So you trade in 82 overalls into 83s or 84s. They're a currency, right? It's like coins, right? And it's always been like that it's been like that for the last few years. Before that, it used to be collectibles, right? It used to be gold collectibles, carbon collectibles, or even just event collectibles as a whole. You would trade in cards. They were still the currency. The issue is that with this new line combo system, it promotes not trading stuff in because you can really miss out on some awesome stuff. There was people that traded in Eichel, the Check My Game Eichel, because he was an 85. He's fallen out of people's lineups. It was very hard to get 85 overall cards or 83 to 85s. And there are people that traded that card in. And in prior years, you could do so. Nothing really fixed. Then you see the potential of what happens if you keep all of your cards. You get the shot at, oh my God, I got a +6 overall boost, right? But it's not predictable. It's not actionable. And it leads to another issue where if we're holding on to cards for future stuff, then the issue becomes, what do we trade in to actually acquire stuff? Because the rewards that we get are not a lot. And I've talked a lot about this, that rewards are a scale. The more 79 and 80 overall cards, or however many cards you give out, the cheaper that they become, okay? And that will, again, that just causes inflation and deflation, right? So when you get a pack with only 4 cards, as opposed to getting ones where, like a mega pack used to be, 30 players? You get a pack of 5 cards, 79s, it's 2 79s, an 81, an 83, and an 84. Let's say it's crazy, right? That's potentially like 150,000 coins, right? That's a lot. About 100,000 coins. You got 30 cards from a mega pack. Even if you pulled a purple, they're mostly 80 overalls. 80s were going for 1,000 coins at most because 80s were so low. And you just, like, it all changes. Like, when we go back and look, that rewards have always been a complaint. And with this new system, though, that promotes holding on to your stuff for future releases, and then the extreme lack of being able to earn a lot of cards. You can earn cards, right? And you can sell them because almost everything's tradable. That's another thing I don't see brought up a lot, is that almost everything is tradable. If you were to go back years ago, everything was untradeable, like rewards, right? And so that is a positive. However, like I said, I'm starting to feel a little bit of the grind. So my subathon has ended, and a lot of people ask me, like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm playing Cup Chase. And I actually think Cup Chase is pretty rewarding. Again, when I was streaming for a month straight and all I had to do was play the game, a lot different. And I said this during it. I knew what would happen the second I ended. I only play the game when I'm on stream, which is about 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day, which is still quite a bit. I don't like playing offline. I like playing online when I get my few hours to do so, right? A lot of it's spent yapping and all that stuff too. And because I've hit my peak, which is platinum, I'm not earning anything. And I'm looking at, okay, I want to get Crosby, which I did, and I want to get a couple 85s, and I want to get, some other cards and maybe make another master set player item, maybe get Nylander or Monahan, right, for example. And I'm just like, how the hell am I going to do that? And then I'm like, do I want to trade these cards in? Because what if? I'm waiting for that Russian line combo. We haven't got one that features a Russian, but that's got to be coming, and there's a lot of awesome combinations you can do, like Fedorov. I got a lot of questions about, should I trade Fedorov in for Lindros, because everyone that is making meta teams, Fedorov doesn't really fit. Dude, guys, Fedorov is still one of the best cards in the game, right? Solani's coming out of a lot of lineups. I'm not trading in Solani, right? Because I know that even if I don't have a line combo with him, he's still unbelievable, right? I'm talking specifically for the online ranked meta players, right? So just something to keep in mind. But I'm really feeling the grind now, and it's going to take me a week or so of content to really figure out what is the best way to at least earn something if you're an online player like myself. Obviously, it's Hut Champs, because at least in Champs, I can get a pack that gives me, I think it's like 8 cards. I get about 12 wins, so I get enough collectibles to do the mega pack, I think it is. And I've gotten some pretty good pulls in that. I've gotten an 84. You're guaranteed an 83, I believe, which is huge, given the captains being out. And that's at least one guaranteed pack. Outside of that, man, like, if you're not doing a Cup Chase run, it's really tough. I stand by the fact that the Team of the Week objective list is one of the most important to do for all of the player base, regardless of how you play, because it is a guaranteed 83. It is a guaranteed card that will work towards almost everything in the game, something you need to be doing. So the Team of the Week stuff is 100%. I don't care if you're an online-only player, you only play champs, or you only play offline, you need to get that done because that is one of the only guaranteed ways to actually get something of value for your time. And the other thing is, God, I hope that the Cup Chase rewards scale because, man, imagine if we're only pulling 82s really next season when 82s don't do anything, it's going to be rough. The next event, let's talk about the next event. I think it's going to be the next gen event. If you look back historically, that's usually when we get the rookie one. It's early on in the season. And for anyone that hasn't played, the next gen event is awesome. It's one of the best events because it allows them to use graphics, not headshots, to give us some of the best, most exciting young players in the game. Famously, last year was the Sharks next gen event. We got Askarov, Will Smith, and Macklin Celebrini. Obviously, you're not getting those anymore because they're not rookies. I think actually Askarov might be technically considered one, but he's not going to get one. He's actually been terrible too, which is a whole other concern for me as a Sharks fan. That being said, expect Demidov. Zeev Buium would be one. Matthew Schaefer, who's in the game, but still, like I would expect the next gen event is going to have those players. McKenna is going to be interesting, like the college guys like Haggins. That I don't know if they still have his rights. Because they would have to actually pay the individual player, collegiate athletes. They can pay for their name, image, and likeness, but I don't know what that deal is like. But the next gen event, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, you can guarantee you're getting Demidov and Buium. Like I would put a lot of money on that. So definitely worth doing when they come out because they're always exciting. So I think that might be the next event. That's my guess there. Content packs. So yesterday, they came out with marquee cards that were just clear, like the most writing on the wall content. I was like, man, when the next content drop comes out, we're getting an American-born Vegas Golden Knight. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know how they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna Alex Tuck, throwback Alex Tuck. Come on down. And then they gave us sets that technically allow us to make marquee cards. I stand by. I've said this for the last 2 years now, that is in the good right direction, right? Because technically, you can get a chance at doing that. Good value? No, it's terrible. Would not recommend doing that ever, that set. However, the one bonus is that it at least gives you a shot. I don't understand how, like, this is printing money. How they don't make a pack. Make it $40. I don't care. Like, make it tradable, make it $50, and you get cards from the current content release. Or at least you're guaranteed a card. The other thing that is, side note, the content's been really strong in the sense that almost every card release, guys, is usable. Gone are the days of the 81 overall European random player or the 81 Mario Ferraro that is, getting his +2 team of the week or prime time that no one cares about. Almost every card is good in like a vacuum, like when you take the card in itself. And especially when they're leaning into like line combos and stuff like that, right? So the content is strong, but you can't access it. And I don't think everyone should be given the content because then it cheapens it. But even the people that want to spend money or even real coins, let's say it's 100,000 coins on one card from the release. There's only 20 cards that have come out every day, right? There's only 20 cards roughly. But man, those 20 cards are sick. And make them tradable. So the people that spend money or coins can put it on the auction house. What does that do? The flood of new cards from the content release that would come out and hit the market would be huge. There would not be a shortage of trying to find specific player items, even for theme teams. So it's just printing money. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. And I don't advocate for spending money on the game, but I can't stop people from doing it. Like there will be people listening to this right now. If you are a whale and you have a God Squad and you saw Alex Tuck come out as a Vegas Golden Knight, you probably are spending money if you didn't have Jack Eichel, right? You're probably spending money. And it stuns me that isn't in there. So, all right, that being said, let's get into today's comments and questions that I went through. 35 likes. which is quite a bit. Again, if you have one that you want me to answer, guys, make sure you like it when you're scrolling through your comments. All right. He says there should be a feature when editing your lineup. Whoever you are hovering over, there should be a pop-up showing all the potential line combos for that player. Would make team building a lot easier. 1000%. And I can't wait for NHL 31 when this feature is added into the game. Because, yes, 100%. Even if you clicked on the card and in that big section down in the bottom left that has nothing in it, it just said potential line combos. I'm like, this would make things so much easier and so much more front-facing for the casual player base. So much more exciting. I would love this, and it is a great idea, and I don't see how they implement it. Not because I think that it's hard. It's too good. I just don't think that it'll happen. Anyone else wondering what happened to Cup Chase collectibles? Well, Cup Chase collectibles suffer from the fact they made the first season 2 months long, right? In the first month of the game, they're always very careful. We've seen this. Last year's XP Path was 2 months long, and it, in my opinion, pushed away majority of the player base. But they have the XP Path a little bit more figured out this year, so the XP Path didn't really push people away. However, Rank did, and Cup Chase and all of that, it'll operate a lot different and feel a lot better because the Cup Chase stuff to get those, God, I had to play a week straight of Cup Chase to get it done. Like, it required a lot. Like, I think one of them was 1,000 shots in Cup Chase. Like, that's not nothing, right? Like, it's still a lot. One of them was 500 goals, maybe. I don't remember. It was so long ago, and I literally streamed for a month straight. When it's only a month, let's say, if the season is only a month, it'll feel a little bit better. But yeah, man, like, even if they just gave us, like, 2 collectibles for every time we beat a Cup Chase, like, that would make the rewards a little bit better. But I'm with you. There isn't enough, but this is simply a product of, we have an idea, but we're playing it so safe because we don't want anything to break because we haven't done this before. They're beta testing, essentially, or they're quality assurance testing, and we're just having to live through it. I just want the menus to be faster. It's just a buggy mess going from menu to menu. I don't think this gets fixed until there's a tear down of the UI, and I don't know. That would require, based on the history of what is capable by the dev team and the resources that EA Sports as a whole gives to EA NHL, not EA Sports. Like, they could easily fix everything, but everything goes to FIFA. I don't see it getting torn down and fixed, only improved. And like I said, there's a clear data leak issue. Like, you can feel it after being on the game for an hour. Like, go and close the game, go to your lineup, change your abilities. Wait an hour, go back, try and change your abilities, see how delayed it is. It's crazy. Having multiple captains just goes against what EA preached in the deep dive about team building. Allowing to use only one player made us think about who to build. Now it's just previous year's events of builds who's best. Deep dive quotes were, we've introduced player combinations and a salary cap to add depth and roster and strategy to roster construction. The salary cap adds an extra layer of roster management, encouraging balance and creativity instead of simply stacking stars. While those quotes talk about salary cap and chemistry more than captains, teams can now build McDavid, Miro, Yossi. Miro is still one of the best left-handed defensemen. Yossi is still one of the best DD boost Makar. McDavid is McDavid. This is literally just stacking superstars. I think this comes back to more of the issue that they made McDavid the captain, and you always run the risk of that. That's why I never thought possible. Never. Like, the old content team would have never done this. I am happy that everyone gets to play with Connor McDavid, though. Again, the casual player would have never had a shot. Never had a shot. He was 300,000 coins. No one's getting that, right? And, however, I do think that it is great that the best card in the game and the best player in the game always has value. That being said, I don't know how I feel about the multiple chemistry for the captains, because +5 AP is not game breaking, but I do like the feature because the cards are good and they are buildable. And when you consider that every season and every half season, we get these massive content drops. They essentially turn captains into just events. They're MSPs, right? With a little bit of an added bonus. We now get a season. A new season comes out. We get new icons, we get new heroes, captains, rookies, and an event. overwhelming amount of content in comparison to what we've had over the last decade. I don't have any complaints about that. I don't like in HUT. Again, I learned of this back in the AP gate. When you have a mode where people invest money and a lot of time, doing these massive changes impacts those people's prior money and time spent, and that really isn't fair. This should be figured out before the launch of the game and not evolved and have the systems in which we build the teams change throughout the year. That's where I'm with you. I think that I'm not on your side in the sense that I think that it's bad for the player base to make multiple captains, but I do agree that being able to make McDavid is a little rough because everyone has Connor McDavid now, and it kind of cheapens the chase. There just isn't any chase cards, right? Like there isn't, right? So it cheapens the value of earning the top end cards. But again, 99% of the player base wouldn't have had Connor McDavid. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Today we'll get more content, Team of the Week, which will be really interesting to see who gets that. There's a chance that it could have been Eichel, but I doubt that if they did buildable Eichel, oh my God. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.